Hello, I'm Robin Gibson, and this is the Harvard House Money Morsel. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell so you get a notification of when we're releasing a new video. I'm sitting today again with Michael Porter. Welcome, Michael.
Morning, Robin.
Well, Michael, first of all, it looks like we might be retired shortly between Jana and Willie doing an excellent job while we were off with family events. And winter's arrived. We've had some snow on the berg.
Yeah, I was actually looking back at some photos, and 3 years ago I was water skiing at Speenkop Dam over Easter, and there was snow in the background in all the photos while we were water skiing. So it's not unusual to have snow at this time of the year,
No.
but it's chilly.
Yes,
It's
definitely so.
definitely plummeted.
Yeah.
Autumn has arrived.
Yeah, definitely it has. Talking about chilly, the Rand had a very, very chilly week last week. We went to, I think, an all-time high, touching almost 20 intraday against the dollar. And now we're all the way back at sort of the 1880 mark. Michael, I think you have to help us who are confused as to what's really going on.
Okay, it's been a pretty tumultuous April. That's proper rugby past that. But it's been a pretty tumultuous April, hasn't it? I mean, we spoke previously about the 3rd of April being Liberation Day, which was when Trump announced all his tariffs. Obviously sent the markets into a tailspin. Right. That also coincided on that 3rd of April with serious reactions in the GNU, obviously over the budget, and the DA not voting for the budget, and the week thereafter you obviously had the market reacting to Trump's tariffs and causing significant market weakness. So there was an element of flight to safety in that, which obviously always puts pressure on the Rand, but also huge uncertainty in South Africa about the GNU, where we're heading. I think a lot of people thought there might be a cabinet reshuffle and all the DA ministers got kicked out. That rhetoric obviously seems to have died down. There seems to be they're still working behind the scenes, and I don't have any further insight on exactly where the GNU is now than we did maybe a couple of days ago or a week ago. But maybe there's some slightly cooler heads that are just working through the issues and being adults about it. Maybe that's my comment on that, which is encouraging. But Robin, I think the other thing that's happening, and maybe it's a bit more serious, and this is maybe a little bit more of a longer term issue, is a crisis of confidence in the dollar is developing. America, I mean, how often have we said at Insight presentations that America is the foundation stone, or American interest rates are the foundation stone of the world financial system? Now that is just being shaken to the core at the moment. American policy was always predictable. American property rights were predictable. American courts were predictable. I mean, if you wanted to go and fight a battle, you wanted to do it in America or possibly the UK or something where the frameworks were reliable and in place. And that belief is really being shaken at the moment. You're having Trump ignoring some of the court orders about deportations and all these kind of things. So you just read what's generally going on. Foreigners are basically selling US assets. And there's I suppose a flight of capital out of the US. Now the Trump administration wants a weaker dollar. But I think they've got to be careful what they're wishing for here, because a slightly weaker dollar is one thing. To undermine the confidence in the American system is a completely another thing. And I think almost we're verging on the latter at the moment. So the dollar's sort of 9 or 10% weaker than it was at the start of the year, and so obviously if you look at the Rand versus the pound or the euro, it's actually pretty weak, and I think we're at the weakest level ever against the pound. So the Rand is still weak in its own right, and obviously emerging markets are under pressure at the moment because of no one really knows where exports are going to land up. And I mean, even though the gold price is at record highs because of the uncertainty, I suppose there's a general concern about commodity prices, which obviously would also impact the Rand. So there's quite a lot going on at the moment. But I really think that part of the Rand strength is just because the dollar is weak. But there is a crisis of confidence developing in the dollar, and it's, on the one hand you can say, well, that's good for us, but I think you've got to be careful what you wish for here, because actually the world system works on stability and predictability. And if that is taken away, sure.
Yeah. So, Michael, part of that is reflected in this absolute trajectory of gold price at the moment, shooting the lights out, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, gold price over $3,300 an ounce this morning. I had a little bet with my dad, so I think it ended last year at like 3,700 or something like that, or 2,800. And I had a bet with my dad. He said, "Well, where's the gold price going to be at the end of the year?" It's had a good run, and I sort of thought, well, 3,000, 3,050. Well, it shot through that, and now you're starting to have people talking about $4,000 an ounce gold prices. As we discussed yesterday, you always get a bit nervous when people are starting to do that. But as I just said earlier, I mean, there's a real flight to safety. If people are, so it's not just the sort of tariffs, but I think it's the unpredictability of what's happening in America and policy and flip-flopping, and whether Trump has actually got his finger on the pulse or not. And so, yeah, I think gold is just benefiting from its real flight to safety. Things might settle down, but it's not likely in the short term that things are going to settle down. So, yeah, I think people are reducing dollar holdings and looking for alternatives. And the euro is not. There are not many alternatives. So I think the gold price is the natural beneficiary of all this. Yeah, and even it's interesting. Even cryptocurrencies aren't really benefiting. And I think that's also heightened uncertainty around what's going to happen there. So
no, very interesting.
But I mean, the gold price should be good for us. At the margin, we obviously still produce a lot of gold, and it does give a boost to the mining sector, and obviously replacement capex. I know we're not the gold miner that we used to be, but at the margin, it's better for the mining industry than it was. What we need to see is obviously platinum prices and other things recovering as well, which they haven't done yet. But I mean, at the margin, higher gold prices are good for us. It also improves our trade balance a little bit, and oil prices are quite low. I mean, petrol prices, Robin, are at probably a 4-year low in rand. Well, sorry, oil prices in rand terms are at a 4-year low.
Yeah.
So we should see another drop in petrol prices in early May, and obviously that's good for inflation and things. And then gold prices soaring on the other side. So maybe one or two things working in the right direction. But then can I just say, sorry, the Reserve Bank came out earlier this week and were concerned about inflation and very conservative as they always are. But I think if we pinning our hopes on a rate cut anytime soon, we're probably going to be disappointed.
Well, at least at the pumps, that's a silver lining for us. Michael, thank you for giving us that insight. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for joining us. Have a great Easter weekend. Well, by the time you get this, you will have had a great Easter weekend. Thank you, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.